In poetry, I've opened to you T.S. Eliot, William Carlos Williams, Judith Wright, Robert Frost, W.H. Auden, Ben Ockery, Billy Collins, and Dante, and many more. In music, we have traversed, of course, Gustav Mahler and Dmitri Shostakovich. We've listened to Berlioz and Rachmaninoff and Respighi, and we haven't done enough of Chopin, but we will later this year. In psychoanalysis, I've introduced you to Freud and to Jung, to John Bowley and Rollo May, to Csikszentmihalyi and Anthony Storr, and of course many others. In the realm of theology, we've talked about Paul Tillich and Martin Buber, Shelby Spong, Robert Funk, Harvey Cox, Karen Armstrong, and others. In art, I've brought you Bruegel and Munch and Vermeer, Caravaggio, Gainsborough, Lloyd Rees. In politics, Mikhail Gorbachev, Nelson Mandela, Václav Havel. I think only 3, because politicians are not high on the list of things, are they, in terms of stimulation and expansion? They could be, but they enclose their minds. And I brought you the stories of my travels through Scotland, through Turkey, through Japan and Germany, through America and Mexico, and so on. But then on top of all that, and woven through it, I brought you a different look at the Bible, particularly in the first instance, the Old Testament, which has often been closed to us and ignored. I brought you the mythic figures of Moses and Abraham, King David and Job, and the Psalm writers, to try and bring them into our language and our thinking. And furthermore, I've taken you into the New Testament to look at Jesus of Nazareth, in a completely different way. All that. I put these many parts, these many aspects of things together, not only to see where we've been, but also to see them all in a coherent process of stimulation and expansion of the mind. Many people have closed minds to church and religion. So we say, Sundays at St. Michael's, that's going to be different. That is different. For stimulation and expansion of mind and spirit. Be sure to be part of this astonishing conversation with so many of these people, these writers, these artists, that we might otherwise ignore or might never meet. The mind, you see, is part of us telling us who we are, what kind of people we are. The mind, you see, connects us to the world out there, the world of the past and the world of the future, the world of other people, so that we can be more fully present to our lives. The mind can go, of course, into a sleeping mode, or it can open up to these other worlds of thought and inspiration. The third part of Mindsight is about integration. In psychotherapy, we talk about integrative psychotherapy these days. We ought to do more integration within religion. But certainly here today, we want to listen to this. You can listen to so much, but for it to bring any change to your life, we need to take it into ourselves and integrate it within our thinking, within our being, to process it, to accept it, and to build it into our adaptation, to embrace it into our health and enjoyment. Otherwise, it just remains stuff out there, scattered. The mind does operate in fragments, but we want to bring it together, integration. Dr. Robert Sternberg, a psychologist at Yale University, wrote the book called Successful Intelligence. And he said, in effect, it is one thing to think or know that you are intelligent. But successful intelligence means integrating that intelligence with all your life stresses and your life demands, with your life's pursuits of happiness and enjoyment. He wrote that we all seek out our role models. In fact, we might have several models as we pass through life. They're not models in everything, but where they are models, we take them into ourselves. They become part of the influences that we that become part of our distinctive, our unique personality, identity. That's integration. Integration is about reorganising our inner life. It is about finding our place in the world. It's about feeling enhanced by this Mindsight process. It is about getting things together. Fourthly, Daniel Siegel, the author of the book, said, the Mindsight process leads us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Does that sound familiar? We frequently talk about it here. But he has a different word for it. He calls it transpiration. Inspiration is what breathes new vitality, new stimulation into us. But transpiration means that we become carriers of that inspiration out to others in the form of wider generosity and tolerance, goodwill. Transpiration, he says, is where we come to feel that we are part of a much larger interconnected whole. It is how we dissolve our sometimes confining sense of I and become part of an expanded identity, a we.